you want that light on?
I don't know.
Huh?
Has to
I
be
don't
on.
need any light off.
Okay. It's gotta be on
Okay. What is there in today's society that makes you look forward to dying?
Oh, that's a lot. I guess there shouldn't probably be anything that, well, no.
Yet everyone looks forward to dying in one form or another.
Well, not everybody.
Oh yeah, everybody. Everybody. So what is it that makes you look forward to dying?
Can we say makes people look forward to dying?
No, what makes you look forward to dying?
One thing is to see people suffer.
You want to suffer so that you can look forward to dying.
No, but when you see other people suffering.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't make sense, does it?
Yes, it doesn't make sense. I'm kind of confused by your response. Are we on the same planet?
I
No?
guess that makes,
Okay.
that makes us want to see Jesus return. Okay, look forward to dying. Okay.
Yeah, like everyone looks forward to dying for some reason.
You mean like with Muslim men or whoever, they gonna have their virgins, so they look forward to dying?
Well, they're willing to sacrifice everything to get those 70 virgins, yes.
But that's looking forward to dying,
That don't
right?
exist.
Would that be considered,
This one person talking on the 70 virgins, they just, I was, they're, it's 4 Muslim men. I was talking to them. They were East Indian, but like Pakistani sort of thing. And they were talking about how they look forward to their getting their 70 virgins when they die. And I says, oh, thank Allah, they're all going to be men for you. And they were just speechless. What? You know? And I says, well, of course, they have to be. There isn't enough women. You've raped them all already. So where are you going to get the virgins from? It has to be men. And they just, it brought them to the point where they said, there's something wrong with the way they're thinking.
yeah.
There's something wrong here.
Good.
Yeah.
Got them thinking.
Where are they going to get the 70 virgins from?
Especially each, when they're counting on it each.
Yeah.
Well, so
I guess they figure he's gonna make more or something, I don't know.
But everybody has something that they are looking forward to dying.
Because we're supposed to be looking at life.
We're supposed to be looking at life, but we often
Good.
neglect the words of life and the power that Jesus has released to us because we're looking forward to death, not life. So everyone has something that is calling them to die, and they're accepting it.
Well, I know that in one thing that I was told that some people, well, it wasn't them, they wanted someone else to die so that they could be free. So there is a thing where people look forward to dying because then they're free from that mate, or free from their debt, or free from the stress
A
of
certain responsibility and stuff.
responsibility or unforgiveness.
Yeah.
right?
But you see, that's
Pain.
that's still going outside yourself.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
I
But
was trying to be like.
everybody has something that they personally look forward to that's calling them to die, that they have accepted.
Well,
And it's blocking their walk with Jesus.
what happens if the reason you want to die is to have eternal life with Jesus?
But that's not.
No, that's not why you want to die. He's with you right now inside you.
Yeah.
We can live forever. That's what, I'm not connecting.
We could live forever. We have the power to live forever.
I've always spoken.
But there's always something that a person holds on to.
Escaping fear and false prayers of others. I don't know.
Well, I think that may have had something to do with Lydia's death.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to rephrase Joyce's statement. How about seeing the end of suffering?
No. People won't die. Don't look forward to death because of suffering, their own suffering or somebody else's suffering.
No, because then you
They
need to-
have some concept, they have some idea or some principle within them that says
Okay, thanks.
they'd be better off dead, and they're accepting
So
it.
it's a situation where they're feeling hopeless in some area.
Mm-hmm.
So even with the euthanasia, a senior who's suffering and really dying and wants to die at the end of suffering, there's still something else besides that that causes them to want to die. Is that what you
Yes.
said? Yeah.
But you said everybody is.
Because it will be one thing that prevents them from wanting to be resurrected.
Again, please.
Because whatever you're holding on to stay in death, it will be the one thing that will say that I don't want to answer the call of being resurrected.
You mentioned about a certain person who passed away recently, that there was guilt involved. Because that guilt had kept that. You said they kept that person from being resurrected.
It could have been a guilt that had not been laid down.
It makes you want to die and not be resurrected.
And not be resurrected. It could have been a guilt. Not necessarily was it, but it could have been.
So hopelessness is a big part of that. What Marilyn said, hopelessness is a big part of that.
You can grab hold of hopelessness, and it can cause you to want to die. Yes.
Well, not staying steadfast in the word on something would, whatever it is, would want to take over. Because we're not speaking that word.
Well, it will stop you. Whatever you're holding on to will become more important than staying steadfast on the word.
So unforgiveness.
It
'Cause, I mean, you
could
wouldn't
it
want to
could
be
be
resurrected.
that you're a form of unforgiveness is laying within you that you won't forgive yourself.
Well, yeah, because you wouldn't want to be resurrected to see God if you felt guilty, or that because you knew you had unforgiveness or some sin, right?
Well, you'd
Like a
want
pet
it
sin.
would be if you were resurrected here when somebody called you up from the dead, you would be given a second chance. But there's a reason you wouldn't answer it.
Does the fact that many Christians today have this desire to die come from the fact that Job prophesied it when he spoke out about his own? He said, I would prefer to die. He said, all this misery I'm going through, why did I not perish in the womb?
Yes, he said those things.
And didn't Paul say the same thing, that he'd rather die, but it's better that he stays? And
Stayed
He said
for
he'd be
the
better off if he wouldn't have been born, yeah.
For himself, he'd prefer to fast for the others. Aaron's got something to say.
I just wanted to know, could you please repeat what you said earlier about Linnea? Can you comment on her?
When
Was
I
she,
said to escape the fears and fear-based prayers.
Yeah, escape the fear-based prayers that were constantly
That's okay.
attacking her.
was she called forth and didn't come?
And no, she told them, do not attempt to resurrect me.
Oh, really?
I don't want to be resurrected.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's what she said.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because she already declared that she's at the right side of Satan.
She knew where she was going. She knew where, and she wanted to be there rather than
Doesn't
here.
want to be
Yeah.
here.
Preferred to be in heaven.
Otherwise, they would have.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was, on the blog, there was a question I asked of that, and we didn't have a clear answer to it. That people were wondering why, we wouldn't raise her, because she did not want to. It's pretty simple.
If she made that as her will,
Yes,
state, from her,
yes,
then you have no right to resurrect her.
no.
So anything that we're holding on to that we shouldn't be actually becomes part of our will, or is coming from our will.
It could be coming from our will. We often set our will as
Is what we
a higher priority than the Word of God. And you see, for the longest time, we were always made sin conscious. Sin conscious. The wages of sin is death. The soul that sins deserves to die.
If you're sin conscious, I think you're automatically death conscious. Is that correct? If you're sin conscious.
Yes, you're automatically.
So that explains why a lot of Christians today, because they believe they're sinners, saved by grace, they accept death so easily, and others' death so easily.
Well, they accept it as doing it for Jesus.
Yeah.
Creflo said, "Don't resurrect me. I'll cuss you and go back."
Well, that was Jessie Duplantis. Mom, they wanted to resurrect her, and she come back and said, "No, I don't want to. I want to go to heaven. I want to be with Jesus." And she said, "No, don't do it again."
Like the world fears death, but I don't know many Christians that have ever feared going to see Jesus. Like this.
Well, most of them fear that they're going to hell.
and most people who call themselves Christians are.
Yeah, they're going to
That's
Sheol.
right. That's why it says in Ezekiel that when they were resurrected, it said, our hope is
Our hope
lost.
is cut off, yeah. Huh. We're better off dead than to
Yeah.
grace. Yeah.
That they would be better off dead.
Yeah.
You want to load up right
Do you
now?
know that your room's open?
My room is open?
Yeah.
You want to go walk it?
Pastor Scott.
Thank you. I don't know how I left it open. Oh, I know, because of the phone call. I was in the kitchen. I had to go back to my room and I forgot it. Jamar said a lot of people, their youth and vigor should be renewed, but they can't have it renewed because they are holding on to death. They can't get over what's attacking them because they're holding on to death.
And they're holding on to death by speaking death. I mean, I'm surprised how many people talk that way. Like they find something real funny. Oh, that just kills me.
Exactly.
Like,
Even
there's
Dave,
so many
Daddy
different
Robinson
ways you
said
could express that.
Other than using
Yes. And
that. Okay.
just
But it's a sign that when you speak out the words calling death, that you're you're holding on to death. It's valuable to you.
That was fast.
So it's a twisting,
Wow.
like
He
Satan
knows
says-
how to move.
walk all day.
It's like Satan twists it and says, well, if you're dead, you'll be released from something.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's that false, instead of being released to Jesus where you're supposed to be living forever, he's saying, oh no, if you pick my way, then you'll be at peace. You'll be
Well,
something.
yes, he does sell a certain sense of peace because
A false peace.
it's a very false peace that's involved. But he sells hopelessness, not hope. But it is a lay down item that we often have not considered. What things we're holding on to death for. Why do we hold on to death?
Well, we shouldn't be doing anything.
What's in the root core of our will that wants us to hold on to death?
A love of sin can cause it.
Could be a love of particular sin, but that's not necessarily the case. See, sin comes out of the heart. It's desperately wicked. But the will is set by what you've spoken into it.
Yes.
So what is there that would cause this problem? What is at the root of it that says, well, only got left to look for is death?
Another factor in that would be, thinking from some people's perspective maybe, is loneliness.
A threat of loneliness,
Yeah.
yes, but often you see that it's set before you even enter your teens. You've set your will looking for death.
Really? We've
Yeah.
all said
Yeah,
that
like,
early
I
in
mean,
life.
there's a lot of people that just fascinated with death. I mean, like, they look for it. I'm like, look at a lot of these goth people.
On Halloween.
Yeah, it could
Well,
be on the
that
Halloween.
sows seed, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That just
So that's a
sows-
generational curse too,
Really?
because we accept the
I never
attitudes
thought of
of previous generations of,
You see,
well,
when
we're born to die.
when
That's
you
what they say.
go to heaven, you're cut off and you can't see what's happening to your family. But they say, but if you look forward to death and you are put in the sleep area of hell, you can be called up and see what's going on with your family and talk to them.
Oh, 'cause they would feel cut off.
Yes, there's a feeling of being cut off
So it's,
in heaven.
so if this happens before you're a teen, then, or during that time, that you want death, it's because you don't see Jesus as love then? Like there's that hope in Jesus that he really loves you. It goes back to the tree, right, in the garden, where, are you sure? I bet he's just joking, right? Is it, right, is that more,
How many of you have seen a grandparent die or a favorite uncle or aunt?
You mean seen them die or just?
Seen them or
know
knew
that
about
they-
them?
Yeah.
You go into the funeral, you've seen
Yeah,
them dead.
yeah.
so,
All of us have, probably.
Favorite uncle, favorite aunt, or
Yeah, yeah.
okay. Instead of declaring correctly over them, it's, oh, you want to die to be with them, and it's at your will when you're young.
could it be even if you never really even met them?
Even if you never met them, you can set your will that you should have met them.
Is that a
You
conscious?
miss them. You know,
Is that a conscious or a subconscious setting of your will there?
it is actually a very much conscious setting of it, because you start speaking death thereafter into your life,
Oh.
You said even if you didn't know them?
even if you didn't know them. But it's more common where you knew an uncle or you knew an aunt or you knew somebody that died.
Mhm. Mhm.
And you think that they left you.
Mm-hmm. And so that if you die, you can go be with them.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay?
Yeah.
But it sets your will to accept death
Mhm.
and not life.
Interesting. This also sets a new understanding of Ezekiel 37, where it says, our hope is cut off." Before we said, these people are hoping for heaven. They're expecting, immediately go to heaven when they die. And then here they wait 1,000 years. They're asleep, and then they find out they're naked, and they wake up, and that's just this earth. This is not heaven, That's why their hope is cut off. But now we see another possibility, is that they were expecting death, and now they got life. Kind of strange.
They were expecting to be dead and be with their relatives in hell in the holding cells,
Mhm.
basically, or
So what?
and here they are resurrected. And guess what? There-
Oh,
So what if we never had anyone that we knew die as in their, like, until we were probably quite older?
That doesn't mean it didn't affect you at that point. There comes a point where you see those that you love die.
I told him I would be around to resurrect them again.
Well, the point is,
So
you
trust
see
me
them
still.
die, but it attaches you to death.
And it says that in the First Testament, they slept with their fathers. With
Yeah.
their fathers. You go with your fathers.
Exactly. Does it give you a better understanding of that aspect of it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so okay, growing up in a church where you don't go to heaven, you
Mhm.
die, and
Mhm.
you wait till the resurrection.
Yes.
So that would definitely do it right there.
That would establish a hold for why you hold on to death.
Didn't Worldwide believe in heaven?
No.
No?
No.
I didn't know that.
You died, you just died?
You die.
And went to hell.
Until Jesus.
1,000 years later, you're resurrected.
Oh,
Or no, excuse me, at the coming of Jesus.
At
Yeah.
the coming of Jesus, you get resurrected out of hell.
but you gotta spend time in hell first?
No,
Yeah?
Well,
Well,
it's,
it's a place of the
Yes,
dead.
you did.
Your sleep.
just not in fiery hell, just in the ground.
In Sheol.
Yeah,
In sleep.
like where the potatoes.
But it's still hell.
Oh,
Yeah.
where the potatoes are.
Well, the potatoes.
Oh, hell, yeah, that's a whole.
Well, in other words, the potatoes are in hell because
Yeah.
they're in the ground.
Yeah.
So it could even be with generations.
It can affect you generationally, but there's always a specific reason why people hold on to death and can't accept life.
Is there a spirit of?
Just,
Oh,
Charlene was,
well, you see, my grandmother died when I was 2.
yeah.
So, and I would sit in her room after she died. So obviously accepted death right then,
Mhm.
right?
Absolutely.
And the fears, and the fears.
Well, yeah, because she disappeared. I didn't know where she went. So
Yeah.
I'd stay in her room, and then after a while she didn't show up, so then I didn't go up there anymore. So, well, you know, you're 2. You know, it's
Yes,
pretty
I-
logical, you know. Okay, so then you would have to lay down, you'd have to lay everything down as an adult more than when you were 2, because at 2 you don't know what's going on.
Right.
So you need to lay down all that stuff. Now, for Colin, that happened to him. His grandfather died when he was, I think, 2. But he always talks about wanting to see his grandfather.
Mhm.
So totally accepted death and keeps speaking it in.
And we'll keep speaking it into all areas of life.
Right, because he wants to see him.
Right.
Okay.
Even a
But
Martha.
you can do that with a pet.
Oh, yes.
Probably a lot more people do it with pets than their families.
Oh, and I agree with you, Joyce. Oh, yes, I've seen families spend a lot more on their animals, their cats, than their children. A lot more on them.
To a lesser degree than what we can see here today, Martha, when Jesus talked about resurrecting Lazarus, her first thought was, well, yeah, at the last day he's going to be resurrected. But she couldn't conceive of Jesus speaking life to him right then.
Right. Couldn't. Those are strawberries. Girls don't like strawberries.
She's a strawberry blonde.
Are you sure?
So,
It's just Aaron you don't like.
so Gerald, that means that for children then, or anybody, then a funeral would need to be, there needs to be life spoken in. There has to be something different than your regular funeral,
Right.
right? There has to be a different, the hope has to be spoken out, life has to be spoken out. Like with Linnea spoke it out for herself, right?
What she spoke out is for the church.
Yes.
She spoke life to the church. That's what Tamara made me understand this evening.
Yes.
And she says, they will have trouble accepting it until they release their longing for death.
So is that what we lay down? Just we lay down a longing for death?
Mm-hmm.
Even if we don't really know why, or is that why we do it, because of loved ones?
Well, it could be, it may have started with the love of a pet that died.
Or a neighbor, if you were
Or a
really close
neighbor,
to
or
somebody.
a friend, or somebody that died in an accident.
Could it be
Somebody in the church that you enjoyed getting hit by, you know.
or it could be a school, like if there was someone in school,
Yeah.
a teacher.
The effect of this mass killings of children at school, all the other children have only one goal in mind: to die.
Is it not a resigning to death rather than a longing? Is it start like being resigned to death?
Resigned?
Resign, like you
No!
Because they died, and well, maybe I'll die too, is what they're thinking, right?
Well, everybody's.
What did I do to deserve to live?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh.
And everyone speaks so highly of those who died.
Yeah.
You know, they're
Right.
they're the best child there ever was, and they were so
Yeah.
good, and the best friend, and the best this and that. So
And then why didn't I die if I was the best?
And nobody recognizes me.
yeah,
And how many people speak that it would be better if it's me than him or her, you know, when somebody does pass away.
And we do live in a culture
Especially a
of death.
child, when a child dies, they say that better if it's me than a child.
Well,
I'm having a little difficult with this whole thing, but it's,
there will be, because it's touching at the very core of your will.
it is.
And it's a very, very difficult subject to lay down
and
and turn over to Jesus.
what did you say that we say when we lay it down? Declare that when we lay it down, we lay down the will, whatever it is in our will that is wanting us to die.
Yes, that we've called for to die. We're called within ourselves to die.
So we live in this culture of death, because the culture just worships death. Then we go to a funeral that is a kind of a death funeral that doesn't speak life. That fear gets, that desire for death gets stronger. That
Yeah,
love.
because everybody's around and they're speaking good things over somebody they hated.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying the lies that they speak, but they're seated into forms of rejection into a lot of other people.
Yeah. But it confirms the will for them to stay hooked to death. Okay?
Never looked at it that way.
Oh yes, you did. You didn't realize you were looking at it that way.
But those that want to die when they're younger, is that anything to do with the spirit of suicide? Like if they want to kill themselves or they want to die?
You see, when you want to die, you have reached a level where you have not any hope of life improving in you, for you. There's just that certain point. Children commit suicide for one reason, basically. You know, the heart of it is they feel unloved, and only death releases the pain of not being loved. Then everybody will speak good of them, and you know, when they're dead is what they figure, because that's what they've seen at funerals and heard and watched on television. All these grand pronouncements that people make over the dead. You know, they try and remember the good things. Why don't you remember the bad things?
Who's going to stand up and say he was a jerk?
People will say it to their friends, just not to.
Yeah,
Just not to
publicly.
TV.
yeah.
You know, there was one raunchy character that a politician that died last year, and everybody had all these good things to say about him. But he was a raunchy SOB.
Mm.
Another saying that was very popular that might have been said was the good die young.
Yeah.
And so people
Yeah.
feel,
Well, they've been good, so they guess they have to die young.
Or they're bad, because they're still living.
I saw part of a show last night, and this woman was talking about, she'd heard about her grandfather and just that he was a good man and well respected in the community, and then eventually found out that actually he was a horrible man and committed a heinous crime against these 12 black slaves that he was keeping, and it was the first time that somebody was tried and put in jail for abusing black people in the States. But all she heard was that he was a good man.
Yeah, what
They call them in the South the good old boys. The good old boys are the ones that hate the blacks. They're good old boys.
Well, in the States, they get a lot of things confused.
That's why you're living in Canada now, Pascal.
You didn't fit in in the States.
Well, we're hoping to correct some of those bad habits. Anyway, that's something for you to ponder over and consider with the coming light out. So you can pick up your toys here, and we'll try to